What's going on YouTube? I'm Brian.
And I'm Hannah.
And we're b&hreptiles. And today's video is all about leopard geckos. Alright guys, so remember, like I was saying in the beginning, today is all about leopard geckos. So today we're going to go over how we clean our leopard gecko tanks and also how we set up our leopard gecko tanks. It's not real hard. Leopard geckos are probably one of the easiest beginner pets that, you know, a new reptile keeper can keep or to have. They're very easy to house. They eat a lot of different things when it comes to crickets, mealworms, superworms. They can get picky at times when they can decide to go off food, probably like when they're ovulating or when they're about to lay eggs. Perdita here, she decides to go off food a lot when she's going through shed. When she's about to shed, she'll go off food for like a day, and then she'll be back on food a day after she sheds. So we've got a pretty good idea of, you know, what she's going to do and when she's going to do it when it comes to food. So let's go ahead and get started. We'll go ahead and get everything set up and we'll be right back.
Okay, so Brian took Perdita out of the tank so that way we can get everything out before we clean it, and I can just explain to you what all goes into having a good leopard gecko tank. Each leopard gecko should be housed individually. That's how we do it. There's issues with keeping more than one leopard gecko together sometimes, like they could get aggressive towards each other and could even kill each other. So we keep all of our leopard geckos individual, only one in a tank. So for each leopard gecko, we like to have 3 hides. We have the cool hide, which is right here. I'm going to bring everything out since we're cleaning it anyway. We just have a cool hide that stays on the cooler side of the tank. Then we have our moist hide here, which you can get like an actual hide that has a lid to it that comes off, or you can make one out of a Tupperware and you put sphagnum moss in there and you mist it daily, just that way so it stays moist. This is good to use for when they're getting ready to shed. That way their sheds come off really evenly. They don't have to worry about having any stuck shed, or the biggest worry with leopard geckos is it getting stuck on their toes or like the tip of their tail. It can cut off their circulation, and they could even lose their toes or lose the tip of their tail. Next we have the hot hide, which underneath of this hide there is a heat mat. So the hot hide stays over here, so that way she can go under it and get some belly heat when she's digesting her food. And for the moist hide, it stays in the middle of the cold and hot side. That way she can, that way it doesn't get too cold in there, and like no worries for like respiratory issues or anything like that. We also have like a couple little, you know, random sticks and rocks just to add some like
enrichment and climbing.
Enrichment, thank you. So we have like her tree and some rocks that she can just lay on and chill. And then we also have this little thing up here she likes to climb on and just lay up there. Then you've got her water bowl and her food bowl, which she doesn't necessarily use the food bowl because usually we can just open up the tank, put in some superworms, and she eats them just like that. And then you also have your hydrometer and thermometer. That way you can see what the humidity is and see what the temperature is. Okay, so one more thing. For our substrate, for our leopard geckos, we use non-adhesive shelf liner. A lot of people feel that any kind of loose substrate for a leopard gecko has the chance of impacting a leopard gecko, which would mean that it gets like stuck in their stomach and they're not able to poop, and it just causes
impaction. It causes them to back up, and
right.
Unfortunately they'll kind of not be able to pass their stool or their food, and they'll just die.
And it could kill them. So we prefer to use non-adhesive shelf liner. Other things you could use that you just lay in there that's not loose substrate is paper towels. Some people use tile, which I think is really cool as well. And it's easy to clean. The biggest thing is it prevents impaction, and it looks nice. So now we're going to clean all the hides and everything that was in her tank, as well as her tank, and disinfect. And then when we come back, we'll show you what your temperatures should be, where your heat mat should be placed, and all the humidity and all the technical stuff.
Okay, so now that we got all the items out of the enclosure, all the hides, the enrichment items, the leaves, the sticks, the rocks, what we're going to do is we're going to spray everything down with a chlorhexidine solution. Believe me, a little bit goes a long way. We use 1 part of chlorhexidine to 32 parts of water. And we just put it inside of a little spray bottle. And like I said, you can tell it's really diluted. It goes a long way. Spray it on everything that goes in there. The substrate, the background if you have a background like we do in our tank, the hides, the leaves, the sticks, everything. Spray it on there for about 2 minutes, 3 minutes. Let it get in there and disinfect anything that shouldn't be there. Then wipe it down with a nice rag. Get everything dry. Then once you get it dry, you can place it back in there, and then you can go ahead and put your animal back in there. But instead of us putting everything right back in, I'm going to go over, like Hannah said, everything when it comes to what you use to heat your enclosure with and how you do it. So as soon as we get done cleaning everything, I'm going to go over all those items with you. Okay, so now that we've got everything out of here, the number one thing that I've seen when it comes to new reptile keepers or just leopard gecko keepers in general is understanding temperatures, humidity, and for leopard geckos, they have a hot spot, and what items to use to get you to the temperatures that you're looking for. So with leopard geckos, you're looking for an ambient temperature inside the enclosure, which an ambient temperature is the whole temperature surrounding. You want a cold side of about 75 degrees to 84 degrees. Then you want a hot spot or a warm side, which is about 85, no more than 90, 92 degrees for a warm side. But then you also need a hot spot, like Hannah was saying earlier, where they can lay and get belly heat to digest their food that they've eaten. And that's how reptiles regulate their temperature, is through their surrounding temperatures and their environments. So humidity also, like we were just saying, humidity inside the enclosure itself is between 30 to 45% humidity, which isn't bad. That's right where they need to be. If it's a little bit higher, it's okay as long as it's not like wet, because when they go and shed, they'll go in their moist hides, and that's where they can get wet and help get that shed off. So what we use a heat mat. You only want it to cover about a third of your enclosure. And so you take the heat mat, you stick it to the bottom of the enclosure, the bottom of the glass. This is where a lot of people get this wrong. And then you have to, it is very, very, very important that you run a thermostat to control your heat mats, because these heat mats can get up to 110, 120 degrees, and they will burn your leopard geckos, and they will hurt them very bad. So you take your temperature probe from your thermostat, and it goes inside the enclosure under your substrate, right in the middle of your heat mat. And now I've got ours laid out pretty good to where when we set it down, it just sits perfectly right in the middle, and it gets the temperature right where we need it. Now to do your ambient heat temperature, we use a chi on a dimmer. So, and a chi is a ceramic heat emitter. It's basically kind of like a light bulb, but it just uses a ceramic element to heat, you know, the environment. But you want to make sure when you use a chi that your dome has also a ceramic top to it that the chi screws into, because if it's plastic, it'll melt, you know, and then when it melts, it'll catch on fire, or it could hurt your animal. So now what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead, get everything back inside, and then we'll show you guys how we set it up and what it looks like when we're done.
Okay, so now we've put everything back in our tank. Everything's been cleaned with chlorhexidine solution. We have rinsed everything off, let it dry, and now it's all back in her tank. So now we're ready to put our leopard gecko back in to her happy home. Well, thank y'all for watching the video about how to set up a leopard gecko tank. We hope you guys got something out of it.
And if you have any questions, or please leave a comment down in the comment section. Also, if you have any ideas of what you guys would like to see next, or see another video that we could do, please let us know. But please like this video. Please
and
comment, subscribe. We've got so many people that are watching the videos already that aren't subscribed. So please subscribe to our videos. We'd really appreciate it. Thank you guys. We hope you enjoyed your weekend. Thank you for watching our video. Like Hannah said, we hope you guys got something out of it. Y'all have a good one.
See you next time.
See you on the next one.